My personal experience with that whole thing, I mean, I've rarely done the romantic gestures just because I learned very early on that typically it doesn't really work. I really don't think it's going to in any way, it's not going to be the deal maker. So getting a girl flowers, getting a girl this or that, it's never going to be the deal maker. So and in a lot of cases, it can actually be a detractor if you get flowers or do this. Because I think a lot of girls, perhaps in the days of old, but I feel like in today's dating climate, a lot of girls don't respect that. And also, my recommendation to men is because of the dating landscape, and both men and women are doing this, but a lot of women are dating multiple men. So I don't think that you should be adhering to your traditional gender roles with women who have as many options as they do and are dating and sleeping with as many men as they are.
I have a question.
What's up?
When you're going out with a girl, can't you kind of tell like who she is? You could research her. You could know like who this human is that you're taking out, right? So, but you feel that when you say that, you're kind of like assuming that she's just like going around with like 10 other dudes and fucking them like on the spot, and you know that she's just meeting up with them like in a Target and not going on a date, and she's just like doing booty call. But like how do you know? Like how are you assuming that? Like how are you making that assumption? I just want to know.
Well, I mean, there's a few ways. I mean, first off, it is to some degree an assumption because that seems to be the norm. It's not every woman, it's not every man, but it does seem to be and it's more so the case that women are engaging in, or it's more so the case that women have the capability or the ability to be dating multiple men, whereas there's definitely men that are dogs and dating fucking 10 chicks, but the amount of men that are capable of doing that is far fewer than on the opposite side. An average guy, he doesn't have a roster of chicks. An average girl, if she was so inclined, could have a roster of guys. They might not be prepared to give her commitment, but she could be sleeping with multiple attractive guys. So I think as a man, you ought to expect it more. I mean, there's also, if you meet them on a dating app right away, you know they have like an infinite amount of options, not an infinite, but a very high amount of options. You can sort of look at someone and sort of get a sense for how they move. You know, if they go out and party, if they drink, you know, look at their social life. For example, I don't go to bars, I don't go to clubs, I don't drink, so I value that in a partner. But that's not always a guarantee because some very unassuming women who might be very quiet, might be very shy, introverted, can be putting up bodies. Like they can be, I've known some women who you'd never think, just based off their personality and the way they move, they have a lot of options. So you never can really know. You can look at someone's general behavior and try to suss it out a little bit, but as I've said, I've known some very unassuming, shy, quiet girls who you wouldn't think it, but are dating 4 guys at the same time and sleeping, you know. So.
But you're still making the assumption, like you don't know that if that's true, because if you're not asking, you're not doing the research, like you even admitted it. You said you're just making an assumption, like you just think that way, based on like maybe one past experience. Like you're just assuming
it's more
that
than
all
one past
women are
experience.
doing that.
It's a collective male experience, and it's. I mean, you know what's going on. I've heard from women.
Yeah, I know what's going on.
But I do ask. I ask
POV.
too.
Yeah.
For example, I was on a date. This must have been a year or so ago, with a girl, and I didn't outright ask, "Hey, how many men are you currently sleeping with?" But what I did ask is that it was a first date, and she had told me that I met her on a dating app. She told me, "Oh, I just got on Hinge," and I was just asking her about her experience, and she's like, well, yeah, I just got on Hinge. Keep in mind, this was like not to be mean to her, but she was unremarkable. She was not particularly interesting. She was pleasant, but she wasn't charismatic. She wasn't a stunner in terms of her physical appearance, like an average girl. She had told me she had just downloaded the app. The date I went on with her was like her 4th day on the app. She'd been on 2 dates prior to me, and then she had 2 dates planned for the weekend. She's an average woman. Like, her male looks equivalent, perhaps you can consider me as that, would not be capable of securing 5 dates in a week. So, I mean, I'll ask questions and they'll reveal themselves. I mean, she may have very well not be sleeping with any of them, but the fact that she's going on 5 dates with, I don't even want, that's not worth my time. I don't want to deal with a girl who's going on all these dates, because if I want to see her again, I want to see her on a Friday. Oh, you already got another date. I'm not interested anymore.
You need to get out of the city.
Booked and busy.
Santa Barbara's not that big.
Like, I think it just depends on the type of girl, you know, like, if she's a relationship type, she can have all these dudes coming into her DMs, but that doesn't mean she'll be interested in them, you know. And, you know, just from my personal experience, I don't know, I think, like, social media has influenced, like, men a lot about the type of girl they want. Like, they want, like, a supermodel type of girl who's perfect, has, you know, and also...
I actually think it's the reverse. I think it's women that have higher standards, not men.
Like how?
Well, I mean, I would say that women, generally speaking, are pickier than men are. And I think there's perhaps a biological basis for that. But I don't think it's men out here with absurd standards.
Well, it's because, in my opinion, I think women are just more like emotional beings and men are more logical. So, like, I think if a woman were to, like, because, you know, I've seen, like, from my personal experience, and I've also seen other women in my life date men who, you know, where people would look at him and be like, you could do better. But that's because the woman has an emotional connection with him.
Sure.
And where men, the emotional connection comes after logic. So they're more like, okay, what can she do for me? What can she provide? And things like that, you know? And then later on, then emotional connection comes after. So I don't think like women are more picky. I think it just depends on the connection.
I think women are more picky, but that's why I'm confused why you'd care if the girl had 5 dates lined up that week, because she even just said a girl can get like 1,000 matches pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. So you're probably still in like the top 1% of guys, because girls are very picky with who they actually end up going on dates with. Like, their flake rate is extremely high. So why would it bother you if she curved like 1,000 guys that week and then you guys were the top 5?
Well, I mean, why would it bother me if she's...
Because she's still
dating.
showing a high level of selectiveness just by the fact you're on the date, because it's so unlikely that a woman would go on a date with a guy from a dating app.
But I want an even higher level of selectiveness then. It's not even actually a
then
higher
you
level.
Do well on the first date, and then you beat out the guys of that week. That's how you earn the next level.
I suppose, but there's something that irks me about... I would prefer a girl that is properly single and dates one person at a time.
Oh, on a first date level?
Yes. Yeah.
That's a tall standard. It's a tall order.
Well.
If two girls match with you,
5 dates in a week, I think is a bit.
That's overkill.
It's a bit much.
But if 2 girls match with you and one wanted to hang out on Monday and one on Friday, you'd curve one of them so you could be fully, because that's what you're asking of the woman, basically. Mm.
What do you mean?
You were just saying you want her to date one person at a time,
Sure.
even on a first date level. So if 2 girls
Sure.
offer you a first date in 1 week, you're going to curve one of them. You're going to reciprocate.
Well, I'm more so saying that I think 5 dates in a week is a bit much.
Oh,
but
so
that's
it's not
5
one at a
out
time.
of like 1,000.
So it's
It
not
is
one
a
at a
bit
time.
much.
It's just something under 5. Like,
Well,
what's a
look,
good number?
I'm a realist in that I understand that the dating landscape as it is that there's a likelihood that if you're just meeting somebody that they're probably going to be, there's probably some other people in the picture. I understand that. However, it doesn't change the fact that I dislike it.
That you want to feel special.
I would like to.
The fact
Yes.
is, guys are more likely to take up every date opportunity. Like, if you got offered 3 days that week, you'd probably take all of them. She was probably offered a ton, and she said no to most of them still. So she's actually showing more selectiveness.
Yeah.
Is my point.
Well, I would agree with you that I think women are more selective, but I'm too busy to go on 3 dates a week.
The average guy who isn't hosting a podcast.
I can't speak.
I can speak for them.
I would say the
take
average-
up
They
the
would
chance.
they would probably take
on
it
the
up.
chance.
To be fair, they would take it up. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just speaking for myself, but
Because you're a high value man.
well, I don't know if I've
Red pill
if that's your
man.
assessment of me. Thank you for the endorsement. However, I don't think I've ever characterized myself. I don't like these terms like alpha and high value or high
What is it?
status.
Is it a
Or
red
red
pill
pill.
man or what is it?
Red
What do you
pill's
guys call
okay.
it?
I'm okay with the
pillars
red pill, but
or- so, but
well,
what they
let's
say.
let's come back. I do need to shift really quick, but we can come back to this